Hello, this is Nick Augustine with RES Software. Welcome back to another IT Store tutorial. In today's lesson, we're going to cover how to configure a service in the IT Store. For illustration purposes, we're going to create a service that orders a taxi for its subscribers, and then we're going to request the service in the IT Store. So if you're ready, we're going to go ahead and fire up the IT Store console. And to add a service, catalog service, there's a couple of ways to do it. You can click on it to add a service on the left panel, or you can right click and add a service. When you're adding a service, the first thing you want to do is name the service. So we creatively here, we're gonna call it order taxi. Next, in the description field, we are going to type a description of the service. So for example, we're going to say this is a service that orders a taxi for its subscribers. And basically this will be shown in the IT Store when viewing the details of the service. You can also use a hyperlink in the description field that will also be seen by the end user when they directly browse to these hyperlinks from the IT Store. Next, we're going to select the thumbnail on the right side, and by selecting a thumbnail, you'll be able to visualize the service for the end user in the IT Store. Now you have several options when you select the thumbnail. The first one is the browse, and this basically allows you to browse for a thumbnail. When selecting thumbnails, they are automatically resized to 256 by 256 pixels. You can select thumbnails from the following file types. You can use images, JPEG, .png, .gif. You can use icon files, .ico. You can use programs, .exe, shortcuts, .lnk, or libraries, .dll, archives, .zip, or resources.resx. You also have the option to select from gallery, and this basically allows you to select thumbnails from a sample gallery that's installed when you install the RES IT Store. It contains, as you can see, a large selection of Metro style thumbnails. You can also use the search function. So for example, if we're looking for a Visio thumbnail, we can all have to do just type Visio in the search field. And finally, we have existing services. If you have an existing services and you want to use that specific thumbnail, all you have to do is just to select the service. And finally, the last option is delete. Let's say you have already selected a thumbnail and you want to delete it and replace it with something different. All you have to do is just press delete. So for our purpose here, for this exercise, we're going to use browse option, where I've already pre-downloaded the taxi image. So I'm going to select the taxi image, and basically this is the thumbnail the end user will see when they log into the IT Store and request a taxi service. Next to the Properties tab, you'll find the Screenshots tab, and here you can add screenshots to further illustrate the nature of the service to the end user and the IT Store. You can add up to 10 images in a PNG, GIF, or a JPEG format. To add images, there are a couple of ways to do it. You can select the add button here and just add an image, or you can drag and drop from Windows Explorer. The image will be previewed automatically if selected. If not selected, then you'll have the no preview. To preview images full screen, all you need to do is just click once. And finally, when you're adding or deleting images, you can select multiple images at once. On the Attributes tab, you can add service attributes to the service. Service attributes are placeholders for information that applies to a specific service only. they can optionally replace the values in various fields in the workflow actions of a service, such as usernames, computer names, etc., etc. The actual values of these fields are provided when the service is delivered or returned. This allows you to make services generic. In this particular example, we need to configure service attributes that specify when the taxi needs to arrive, what its destination is, and how many passengers need to be picked up. So we're basically gonna create 3 different service attributes. So to start, you can right click or select add. The first one is going to be where, which is regarding the destination. The second service attribute is going to be when, and the third service attribute is going to be how many passengers. So now basically when the end user requests the service, they're going to be presented with 3 different questions: where, when, and how many passengers. The next related tab is workflow. In workflow, the delivery workflow of each service specifies when the service should be delivered and what sequence of actions should be carried out to achieve this. Each delivery workflow starts with a delivery trigger, which specifies when the actions in the workflow should be carried out. So to start, we're gonna select start delivery, we're gonna select edit, and we're gonna select when qualified people request the service, self-servicing. Leave everything as is, and we're gonna press OK. Now that we have configured when the service should be delivered, next we need to configure what sequence of actions should be carried out to achieve this. So to do this, we need to get back to the workflow tab, and we're going to select a new action, and in this case it's provide information. We're going to rename the subject field quickly to order taxi and provide information. Next, we're going to select the service attributes, and here you basically can, this tab shows you the available service attributes you can use in this particular action. So we're going to check the boxes for all 3 service attributes. As you've noticed here, there are arrows here, up and down arrows, and these are for the purpose of actually increasing or reducing the priority of each service attribute. So here we're going to change the priority of 1 and move it up, and we'll move it to a 2nd priority. And here the benefit is when you change the order of the service attributes, you're changing the order where the service attributes are presented when the service is delivered to the end user. Select OK, and basically here we have set up a new action that is provide information. Now we're going to go back and add another action, and this time it's going to be send a message to the end user. And here we're going to select the actor, and it's going to be subscriber, and here we can change the subject to taxi information. And here we're going to right click, and we're going to use the context menu to add a new text to the end user. So the first one is going to be the taxi will arrive, and then we're going to add the value for when. So select service, and we're going to select the service attribute that we need. In this case it's going to be when, and below we're going to add its destination is, and again I'm going to select that corresponding, which is where. And finally the third one, we're going to add the how many passengers will be transported. So the service and how many passengers will be transported. Leave everything else as is and select OK. So now we have basically set up two new actions. One is to provide information and one is to send a message to the end user. Next, we need to configure the return workflow. Return workflow is very similar to a delivery workflow. It specifies when the service should be returned and what sequence of actions should be carried out to achieve this. So let's go ahead and select return, and then we're going to go ahead and right click and click edit, and then we're going to select a trigger. When a subscriber cancels the service, brackets self-servicing. Click OK, and we can go ahead and close the service window. Now we're logged into a desktop as an end user, and we're going to start a web browser and browse to the IT Store website. So let's put the address of the IT Store. I'm going to log into as one of the we're going to log into the IT Store as one of the end users, Amy Almeida, in this example. And the first thing you can see here is the different services this end user is entitled to, and one of them is the order a taxi, which we have set up earlier on. If you select more, you actually get to see a description. Any description you've added to the service, as well as the different screenshots you might have added to this service as well. We're going to select request. We're going to be presented with a pop-up box asking for the information that we have set up earlier on. So when we're going to put 1500, where airport, and how many passengers, say 2. Click OK. You will get a pop-up here. You can actually undo this action. You have 5 seconds grace period to cancel this action. Next, you will get a message with a confirmation of the delivery of your request. If you select read, you get actually to read your request for the taxi. Close. Head back to the store. You'll see that your order taxi request here. If you select more and you want to cancel this specific request, you can click remove, and you'll get a pop-up saying the service has been cancelled, and the same thing, you have 5 seconds grace period to undo this action. If you go to messages and click archive, you can actually view the different messages, the history of the messages you have sent on the IT Store. This is Nick Augustine with RES Software, and I hope you have found this tutorial to be informative. Thank you for watching.